James Franklin is back. What does the future entail for Lane Kiffin? We're going to talk about all that and a whole lot more tonight on the Draft Countdown Show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Draft Countdown Show. I'm your host, Brian Bosarge, and I'm here to tell you that we are 154 days away from the 2026 NFL Draft. And for discussions about the NFL Draft, all things football, or anything else really for that matter, join the Draft Countdown Discord. There will be a link down below. There is a link with a QR code right there. And go to draftcountdown.com. Top right corner of the search bar, there is a link to join the Discord right there. All right, so let's get to the news of the week. And it starts right there. Virginia Tech has hired former Penn State head coach James Franklin to try to revitalize the Hokies program there. Penn State and Franklin negotiated a buyout of his buyout to help facilitate this move. Something like from $49 million to $9 million. I don't know. It was worth a $40 million pay cut, but I guess we'll see. Quite sure Franklin's going to be a lot happier in the ACC with this move. And I know our own Miranda Wilhelm, a Virginia Tech graduate, she's pretty stoked about the hire. For Franklin and Virginia Tech, this feels like a good match. His recruiting ability, his ability to recruit in the DMV area should help get the talent level back up for the Hokies. They've been down bad for a little while now. So we'll see. I like the hire. I like the move. We'll see how it goes. The Athletic is reporting that Ole Miss has given Lane Kiffin an ultimatum to decide if he's going to lead the program for Florida or LSU. And the ultimatum set before the November 28th Egg Bowl against Mississippi State. For what it's worth, Kiffin has denied such an ultimatum is in place. You know, it is lion season, I guess. For what it's worth, I mean, I personally think of the two, Florida is the one I think he would leave to go to. I don't think Kiffin wants to put up with the shit he would have to put up with at LSU. That seems like a dumpster fire right now with the governor involvement and all that. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. But honestly, I still think it's about a 70% chance that he just stays in Oxford. We'll see. Reportedly, his family was checking out Baton Rouge and Gainesville. I don't know. Seems to be, you hear a whole lot about that stuff this time of year. But it just does seem pretty wild that a sitting head coach would leave a playoff team before the college football playoff actually starts. And that's likely what would have to happen here. You could see a similar situation at Tulane, as they're now the projected Group of 5 team to make the playoff. And John Summerall, the Tulane head coach, is tied to any number of SEC programs as far as getting the head coaching job there. One NFL note to talk about, Brandon Cooks, the wide receiver from the Saints, is going to be waived today. He signed a 2-year, $13 million contract with the Saints. Allegedly could have been traded to the deadline, but was not. I bring all that up because normally I wouldn't give two anythings about Brandon Cooks being traded. Don't care. But, or released or whatever. He's been on 87 different teams, it seems, at this point. But something that Saints owner Gayle Benson said after we did the show last week about GM Mickey Loomis. And if you're new to the show, we dunk on Mickey Loomis a lot because he's terrible at his job. But Gayle Benson doesn't seem to think so. And she's the one that signs the checks. She said, quote, "It may not be what fans want to hear, but as far as firing Mickey Loomis, that's ridiculous. He does a great job." She goes on to say, "I'm very disappointed, as everybody is, but we're in a rebuilding mode. Mickey said this from the very beginning of the season, but look, I understand how fans feel. I really do. And I feel bad for the fans, but we told everybody in the beginning this was going to be a tough year, and it has been a tough year. They just need to be patient, and I know it's hard to ask them to be patient, but all of us are disappointed." Now, let's pull the layers back on that onion just a little bit. Why are they in a rebuilding mode? Why are they having to tear it down to the studs? Why are they doing it? Because Mickey Loomis sucks at his job, and that's why. He has built this team poorly since only gotten worse since Sean Payton, since Drew Brees retired and Sean Payton left to go coach the Denver Broncos. He's awful. He just no longer has an all-pro quarterback and one of the best head coaches in the NFL to mask his awfulness at roster building. It's just a bad situation. Why are the fans upset? They all hate the guy because he sucks. That's why. If I was as bad at my job as Mickey Loomis was, I would expect to have been fired by now. It's unbelievable that the Saints fans have picked. I mean, there are certain sections of the Saints fan base who think that maybe there's extracurriculars going on between Gayle Benson and Mickey Loomis. I'm just repeating what certain people have, hypothetical to me. I'm not here to make any news or anything, but I mean, for somebody to stick by somebody that's that poor at their job, I don't know. You do with that what you will. But that's the news this week. All right. Speaking of the Saints, we're going to talk about them again here in a second. But it's time for the draft countdown, draft top 10 rankings, courtesy of Tankathon.com. Go to Tankathon.com for all of your NFL, NBA, MLB, or NHL draft order rankings. We use them every week here because they're just the best. Let's start at the top. Tennessee holds on to that top spot again this week with a 1-9 record. They are the lone team to have a 1-9 record. I'm assuming the Giants will have this week off. They're 2-9. They seem to be one of a few teams that have played 11 games thus far. So the Giants 2-9 currently sit alone with the second pick in the draft. Both those teams have lost 5 games in a row. The Giants turned to Jameis Winston this week at quarterback. At least it's more fun that way. Cleveland is the leader of the next 4 teams, all at 2-8. The Browns have lost 3 in a row, despite Myles Garrett's best efforts to steady the ship. Shedeur Sanders, I know everybody's so pumped up for that. We'll get his first NFL start this week with Dylan Gabriel being in the concussion protocol. So I guess we got that to look forward to. He was not very stellar in relief duties last week, where I think he was like 4 of 16 with 2 turnovers. 4 for 16 with 2 turnovers. But anyway, the Browns currently hold the number 3 pick. The Saints currently hold the number 4 pick after winning last week. They're now 2-8 on the season. The Jets, also 2-8, have benched Justin Fields. They're going with Tyrod Taylor now. And the Las Vegas Raiders sit in 6th at 2-8. They've lost 4 games in a row, including getting humiliated by the Cowboys on Monday Night Football this week. Another, the only 3-8 team sitting here this week is the Washington Commanders. They've lost 6 games in a row. Not looking good for the Commanders, a team that made it to the NFC Championship game last year, but Jaden Daniels injured. Lots of other issues there in D.C. for the Commanders. They sit at the 7th overall pick. Right now, the Los Angeles Rams sitting pretty with the 8th overall pick at 3 because the Atlanta Falcons, who traded this pick for James Pierce in the first round last year, are 3-7 and lost 5 games in a row. And guess what? Their starting quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., out for the year with knee surgery. Drake London's out hurt. They in bad shape, dog. They in bad shape. And that pick for the Rams is probably going to get better before it gets worse. Les Snead just loving it right now, what he's seeing in Atlanta. The Bengals have lost 3 in a row, got beat up by the Steelers this week. But hey, Joe Burrow's Superman apparently, and practice full on Wednesday. I don't think he's going to play this week against the Patriots, but they really think he's going to start against Baltimore Thanksgiving night. If they lose to New England, they'll be 3-8. The season's essentially over. I don't know if I want Joe Burrow out there playing. I want to see him back. He's crazy to come back for this team this year, man, but we'll see how that goes, see how that season finishes up for the Bengals. When it's all said and done, I don't know that they're picking in the top 10. But we'll see. The Arizona Cardinals, the other 3-17 this week, they're picking 10th. They've lost 2 in a row. The Dolphins are trying to salvage the ship here. They've won 2 in a row. They currently sit right outside the top 10, along with Minnesota, Dallas, Baltimore, who we told you a few weeks ago was not going to stay here long. They've won 4 games in a row. Kansas City, shockingly, at 5-5. Houston, 5-5. Carolina and Detroit just outside the playoffs right now at 17 and 18. That is the draft top 10. All right, let's look back at the best prospects we saw in the games that we watched during week 12, and we've had a couple of defensive stalwart weeks the last 2 weeks. Well, we shift back over to the offense this week, and the best prospect we saw this week was Southern Cal wide receiver Mekhi Lemon, who I think is almost firmly ensconced in round 1 at this point. 10 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown in their win over Michigan. No, they play Michigan this week. No, they play Oregon this week. Was it over Michigan? Iowa. It's over Iowa. The game they won last week. Georgia Tech had to come back from 2 touchdowns down to beat 1-win Boston College, a team who has not beat an FBS team this season. Georgia Tech needed almost the entire game to come back and win. They needed everything from quarterback Haynes King, and he gave it to them. 26 of 34 for 371 and a touchdown. He also had 15 carries for 53 yards. Georgia Tech remains in the playoff hunt right now. They need to win the ACC to get in there, I believe, or beat Georgia. I guess they could do that too. But they need to win the ACC right now. I think they're on the outside looking in. Some other notable performances this week. Arizona quarterback Noah Fafita, he's bounced back this year, 23 of 31 for 294 and a touchdown in their game this week. Georgia Tech wide receiver Malik Rutherford in that game against Boston College had 5 catches for 121 and a touchdown. Cincinnati linebacker Jake Golday had another big performance this week. He had 13 tackles, 4 solos. And San Diego State cornerback Chris Johnson, who another top 100-ish player, 6 tackles, 5 solos, and a pass breakup in their win over Boise State. San Diego State looks like they're the team to beat in the Mountain West. All right, moving on. Week 13 of college football. We've only got 2 more weeks of the regular season left, and then we'll have championship week and then the bowl games and playoffs. So we're going to look ahead to that. 5 games on the docket this week, all on Saturday, 2:30 p.m. on ABC. We're going to catch Arkansas at Texas. Texas, clean to the faintest of playoff hopes after getting pummeled last week by Georgia. They now face the Hogs, and then they play Texas A&M over the last 2 weeks. They got to contain quarterback Taylor Green. He's had an up and down season. I think he's a draftable prospect just on potential, maybe a developmental guy, day 3. A fun matchup to watch in this game. Arkansas edge rusher Quincy Rhodes Jr. against Texas offensive tackle Trevor Gooseby. Texas safety Michael Taft is another one I've heard scouts and others think might end up being a potential top 100 player. So look out for that safety Taft for Texas. 2:30 p.m. on ESPN, Kentucky at Vanderbilt. Our first official look at Kentucky this season. UK can get to a bowl eligible with the win either over Vandy this week or Louisville next week. The Wildcats, I think, have a couple of offensive linemen that could be day 3 targets in Josh Brown and Yeager Burton. Vanderbilt, we've talked about them several times. Eli Stowers, the tight end, probably the top prospect for the Commodores. 3 p.m. on Fox, TCU at Houston. TCU's got a 6-4 record on the season, heading to Houston, who's 8-2. TCU got a few decent NFL draft prospects led by wide receiver Eric McAllister, linebacker Caleb Alarms-Orr. Houston, despite being the better team, isn't loaded with 2026 NFL draft prospects. The best one there might be tight end Tanner Koziol. 6:30 p.m. on ESPNU. We've got North Texas at Rice. Not going to lie, this isn't a loaded prospect game. I just wanted to watch North Texas. A chance to make the playoff as a group of 5 representative here if they can win the American Conference. They're led by second-year quarterback Drew Mestamaker, leads the nation with 3,000 passing yards and 23 touchdowns. He's paired with a true freshman running back, Caleb Hawkins, averaging 136 scrimmage yards per game. Sad thing is, neither one of them are probably going to be at North Texas next year, right? That's just the way the game works now. But they're great players and going to be great players probably somewhere else, either the SEC or the Big 12, I would imagine. As far as 2026 prospects goes, they've got a few potential UDFAs. I think tight end Trey Williams, solid numbers this year. He's 77 on Bruce Feldman's Freaks list before the season. Safety CJ Allen and linebacker Shane Witter. 6:30 p.m. on ABC, Tennessee at Florida. Disappointing season for both teams in perspective, more so for the Gators, obviously, but it's not for a lack of talent in Gainesville. Between edge rusher Tyreek Sapp, offensive tackle Austin Barber, wide receiver J. Michael Sturdivant, they've got NFL talent on that team. Their top prospect, defensive lineman Caleb Banks, been hurt most of the season. They hope he's going to be able to play this week. For the Vols, they've got talent everywhere. We know about cornerback Jermon McCoy, who's been hurt all season. We're hoping to see him get to play some. Their other corner, Colton Hood, a potential top 100 talent. And, of course, I am a big fan of Chris Brazzell II, their wide receiver, who's a big play guy. All right, time for the Q&A portion of the show. And as always, this is a Discord exclusive segment of the show. So if you want your question answered, you have to be a member of the Discord, and there's a podcast section there. I'll answer the questions, and I'll answer any questions. We're going to show you exactly that coming up in a second. Any question is not out of the realm of answering here at the Draft Countdown Show. But to join the Discord again, there's a link down below. You can scan this QR code in the corner up there, or you can go to draftcountdown.com, top right corner of the search bar, join the Discord channel there. Zach asked what may be one of my favorite questions ever, because I do love football, but I'm an old school, long time fan of the WWF, WWE. And Zach asked, what are your top 5 celebrity appearances on WWE television? So I had to go back and ask. I said, do athletes count? And he said, in this case, they most certainly do. So that helped. So I'm going to go in order here. of what I think are the top 5 celebrity appearances on WWE television or pay-per-view, PLE, whatever they call it now. Number 1, to me, with a bullet, Mike Tyson. To me, the Mike Tyson appearance on then WWF television in 1998 changed the course of wrestling history. This was during the infamous Monday Night Wars, and at that point in time, Monday Nitro for WCW had dominated them in the ratings every week. Tyson comes out, gets into an altercation with Stone Cold Steve Austin. They have the whole thing with DX at WrestleMania 14. Tyson turns on DX, helps Austin win the title. By count, he was the enforcer or whatever. Completely, the ratings almost change immediately after that. WWF starts winning the ratings. 3 years later, they end up buying WCW because they go bankrupt or they get sold out. There's countless history on this out there, but to me, that makes Mike Tyson the top celebrity appearance on WWF television. Number 2, I put 2 together here. I'm gonna cheat a little bit, but I feel like they're within a year of each other, so or they're about the same. They're maybe within the same calendar year, but I think they both impacted them at the same time in that era of wrestling. But Cyndi Lauper, Mr. T, I put number 2 here. Cyndi Lauper comes in. They do the whole rock and wrestling thing with MTV. They have the thing with Roddy Piper and Wendy Richter and all this. It was huge impact to make WWF mainstream at that time. Mr. T, of course, was involved in the first 2 WrestleManias. Teamed with Hulk Hogan against Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff in the main event of the first WrestleMania, and then had a boxing match with Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 2. To me, those are those 2 within the same year. Just huge impact on making WWF mainstream at that point. Number 3, Bob Uecker. Multiple WrestleMania appearances, WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 4, in a backstage, then as an announcer role and a backstage interviewer. Just classic stuff. We've all seen the thing where Andre the Giant grabs him by the throat and just shakes him a little bit. And it's just good stuff. It's just hilarious. Awesome stuff. Bob Uecker, rest in peace. Great guy. Number 4, Pete Rose. Appeared at 3 different WrestleManias, got tombstone pile driven by Kane multiple times. It's just hilarious. Him just turning on the crowd in Boston at WrestleMania 14, stuff like that. Good stuff. Pete Rose, another one. Rest in peace. And number 5 is going to be exclusive to me because I kept this one down, but maybe not the most well-known celebrity appearance in wrestling, but Drew Carey comes in at number 5. And he's appeared on like a Monday Night Raw or something later on, but this goes to the 2001 Royal Rumble. Was in New Orleans. I was there for that. So seeing him there and the interactions with him and Vince McMahon and Trish Stratus and all this stuff, and then in the ring with Kane and the Hardys, was good stuff. Loved it. Look it up, 2001 Royal Rumble. I was sitting like 10 rows back from the ring. Awesome. Love the Royal Rumble. It's my favorite WWE, WWF event. So that one's, more catered to me. You could insert any number of names and you're probably not wrong. But to me, as far as in-ring goes, as far as wrestling, I can't count Logan Paul or Pat McAfee because they've wrestled multiple matches, like 3-4 matches a piece or whatever. Logan Paul is actually a full-time wrestler now. Pat McAfee's not, but he has multiple matches. But to me, the best celebrity wrestling appearance was Bad Bunny. He had a great match with Damian Priest at a show they did in Puerto Rico, and he had a great appearance in a Royal Rumble match. So you can tell he took wrestling seriously, tried to be good with it and everything. So I enjoyed seeing him. Honorable mention for the worst celebrity involved in wrestling. And there's been a lot of bad ones, but this one leaves a bad taste in my mouth because to me, it squashed all of the positive momentum that the WWE had within the last year after WrestleMania 40 and everything. Was Travis Scott. One, he just sucks. And he has no business being out there getting physical in the ring. He's about 100 pounds of nothing. And his involvement led to The Rock's involvement, and all that was just garbage over the last year. Hated every bit of it with Travis Scott. Just terrible stuff. So anyway, thanks for that question, Zach. Had fun with this. Had fun thinking about it. And those are my top 5 celebrity appearances on WWF television. Final thoughts this week. We'll keep it simple. Thanks to everybody who stopped by Draft Countdown this week. We saw a nice uptick in the numbers thanks to some extra mock drafting content. Had a couple team-specific mock drafts from Brad in the last week with the Jets and the Saints. Brian Lamb had a 2-round mock last Wednesday. So the numbers have come up a good bit. Coming up on Friday, I'm going to expand my big board. That's going to go up to the top 150. So everybody check that out when it hits on Friday. I had to face some hard truths making this list. Some prospects I like that I'm going to leave off because I just don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to be in this class. So I'm kind of just. Well, they're not officially out. I'm taking them out, and we're gonna. And next week, change things up a little bit. The show, I'll probably record the show on Tuesday and we'll drop it on Wednesday because of the Thanksgiving holiday. And because of that, we're going to have a nice, fun holiday segment next week. Still kind of toying with it in my brain what I want to do there, but look forward to that. So that's going to do it for tonight's show. I want to tell everybody to, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, like the videos, thumbs up, all that, share it out. Good stuff. Again, join the Discord, all that. It's been real, guys. Thanks for watching.